Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're going to just wait one more minute to see if any other classrooms will be joining us, and then we'll get started. Welcome. Could I ask whose classroom I'm speaking with?
This is Miss Breidinger's class.
Breidinger's class. Wonderful. Welcome. We'll get started in 1 minute.
Thank
All right, I guess we'll get started. Well, welcome everyone to today's author chat. My name is Christine Huang, and I'm the chair of the Blue STEM Committee, and I'll be your host for today. I would like to welcome our classroom winners, Miss Breidinger's class. Welcome. And we have a very special illustrator with us today. It is my pleasure to introduce Wallace West, illustrator of Dogtown. Mr. West, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, first, I want to say hi to everybody and to thank you guys for nominating Dogtown. It's a huge honor. And the Midwest holds a special place in my heart because I lived in Chicago for about 5 years and I go to Chicago at least once a year. And so I'm excited to be talking to you guys about Dogtown and to see you guys as close as we can in person. But I thought I would just tell a little bit about myself and how I got started doing all of this. And let me see if I can share my screen here. Does that look like it's working? All right. So if we want to, is it, can you see everything that I'm seeing on mine? Okay, perfect. Rewind, a lot of time backwards. We see there's little me right there with two of my sisters and my mom and a really special friend in the background. And ever since I can remember, I've loved being around animals. I've loved drawing them. And I still have this little drawing that I did when I was about 4 or 5 years old of this elephant. And it's one of my favorite pieces in my collection of my own artwork. And I have these guys too that are right above my desk in my studio, just to remind me of where I started. And these zebras I drew with ink and crayon and colored pencil, which are exactly the same things that I still use today in my studio. And my style may have changed, but my inspiration and the materials I use are still the same. All of these animals, these wonderful animals that I love drawing. And when I was about your age, and I was in third grade, I read this book, The Witches by Roald Dahl, and I read it every October. I'm about to read it again. And there was something about how great the story was and the pictures that were in it. It's a chapter book like Dogtown. And seeing those two things together just made it so much more magical for me. And I said, one day I want to be an author and an illustrator and make books like this for kids. And I don't know about you guys, but I do not come from a family of famous writers and authors and illustrators. And I thought the only people who could do that were people who grew up in fancy places like New York and Los Angeles and London and Paris. But I was determined to do it. And after lots of practice and like telling lots of people what I wanted to do and meeting agents and publishers and showing my portfolio, that's what I get to do now as my job. And it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time, but it's so much fun. And I love doing it. So when I'm in my studio, this is sort of what it looks like, especially if I'm getting ready to draw Dogtown. I like to practice what I'm going to be drawing. And since there's so many dogs in Dogtown, of course, and robot dogs, I wanted to make sure I could draw all kinds of shapes and sizes and fur and ears and different breeds, bulldogs, dachshunds, golden retrievers, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's really not hard for me to find inspiration to draw all of these dogs because I am around dogs all the time. I have dogs in my family, my friends have dogs, and I have my own dog. And this is her right here, Esme. And just like Chance, who is the main character in Dogtown, as you know, she is also a tripod dog, and she is the best. I love her so much. And there is a secret I want to share before we get into talking about Dogtown. I mean, there are lots of secret pictures hidden in there, lots of Easter eggs. But there is this one piece that I did that I really, really love, and it wasn't even written in the book. And there was a page that said something about dogs misbehaving, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I did this picture of a dog doing all of the bad things at once that all of my dogs have done and my friends' dogs have done, pooping in the corner and ripping up a toy and having the toy guts everywhere and drinking out of the toilet. And I was a little nervous sending it to the writers because it wasn't something they'd written about. And they thought it was so funny that they said, yes, of course, we're including this. And they even had it printed and framed and they have it in their house. So that is a little bit about me and how I got to draw Dogtown and what inspires me. And I'd love to answer any questions that you guys have about that and whatever else.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. So we'll start with our questions. Since we only have one classroom, if each student can say their first name and then they can ask their question, that would be fantastic. So Miss Brittinger's class, you can get started.
All right, go ahead, Abby.
Okay, so my name's Evie, and my question is, what inspired you to draw the characters of Dogtown?
It's a really good question. So I have to say, just a collection of all of the dogs that I know. So Chance is sort of inspired by one of my sister's dogs, who was this very friendly, kind Labrador retriever. Even though Chance isn't a Labrador, there's a lot of kindness to her that was inspired by my sister's dog, Bruno. And Metalhead, who is the robot dog, was inspired by the dog that I had before Esme, and his name was Sammy Joe, and he has a long, squatty body and floppy ears. And he wasn't even supposed to be the original Metalhead. I drew a different robot to be Metalhead, and then when the writer saw this other robot dog that I'd drawn, which ended up being Metalhead, they're like, "We love him, we love his ears, and we love his low, squatty body." So just goes to show, like, drawing things you know and things that are in your life, people really connect to. And it's really fun to just always be observing and always never knowing exactly what's going to inspire your artwork. Great question.
And next student. Oops, the mic is muted.
Sorry about that. Okay, Sunny, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sunny, and the question, do you feel good about illustrating?
Yeah, I feel really good. I mean, I will be honest and I'll say there are times where I get sort of nervous and I'm like, are people going to like this as much as I like it? Which any artist or creator or writer that I know thinks that sometimes you get sort of nervous. You put a lot of effort and time and hard work and a lot of heart into something, and you hope people will like it as much as you do. And I have to remind myself a lot, like, if I am having fun and I'm smiling while I'm doing a piece of artwork, I know that it's good and I know that people are going to connect to it. So anytime I'm having fun doing something, I know I'm on the right track. Anytime I get sort of frustrated and feel kind of icky, I'm like, let's put that piece of paper away and start over. And I'll wait till I start smiling.
Great. Next student.
Thank you. Who's my number 3? There you go, Noah.
I don't know. My question is, why did you become an illustrator?
Well, there's something really special about, so writers tell a story, and I like to think of illustrators as showing a story or showing parts of the story that you don't necessarily get to read on the page. It just makes the story that much bigger and gives it that much more meaning. And I love movies. I watch movies all the time. So it sort of is like making a book into a movie by adding illustrations to it. And so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do it. And I like having a library and I like going to libraries. So being part of that process and being part of a library makes me feel really happy and proud because it's one of my favorite places to be.
All right, next student.
Mila.
Okay, my name's Mila, and my question is, you like to draw people or animals better?
Oh, animals, no hesitation. I love drawing animals over people any day of the week.
Do you have a favorite animal you like to draw?
I do crocodiles, and second place are snakes because snakes can be any shape. They can be any shape you want them to. They can curl into any shape.
Wonderful. All right, next student.
Um, my name's Mikey. What is your favorite illustration you made?
My favorite illustration that I've done, um, that's hard to pick. Because they sort of are connected to different places in time for me. But there is one that I've done of the dog that I had before Esme that's really special to me. And I have it framed in my studio. So I think that's one of the top contenders for one of my favorites.
Excellent. Next student.
Go ahead.
Oh, hi, my name's Hale, and my question is how and when did you start drawing and writing?
How and when did I start drawing? Was that the question yet?
And writing.
And writing. Okay. Well, as long as I can remember, ever since I was your age or maybe even a little younger. And when I was doing it, I didn't know that it was possible for me to do that as a job when I got older. And it just was a natural thing for me to want to create little books and characters and draw pictures all the time. Anytime I had like a school report, I would find a way to include artwork with it or make it into a book or do like a book cover for it. Um, and anytime I had free time at school, I was always drawing, and I had friends who asked me to draw in their yearbook. And as long as I can remember, and it feels like a natural way for me to express myself. Like some people like to sing, and some people are athletes, and this is just something that it just happens naturally. If I'm on the phone or I'm like, if I was in a lecture in college or something, I would always be doodling on the side of my page and drawing little characters and um, so as long as I can remember, I've been doing that.
Next student.
Thank you.
How was working in the office?
I couldn't quite hear.
One more time.
My question was, how was it working with two authors?
So what a lot that's a really good question. What a lot of people don't know is that authors and illustrators sometimes never meet. And I didn't even email back and forth with the authors. They found me because they had this book they'd written. They needed an illustrator for it. And it's all about dogs, as you know. And at the time, I had a lot of dogs on my website that I had drawn and from in my portfolio. And the little about me section on my website said, I would be happiest in the middle of nowhere, drawing all day, surrounded by dogs. And they thought, well, this sort of sounds like someone who might want to illustrate Dogtown. And so they had the manuscript sent to me. And I'm not a very fast reader, but I read it in one day. That's how much I liked it. And I immediately said yes. And it wasn't until we released the second book in the Dogtown series, Mouse and His Dog, that I got to meet them. And they are the nicest, funniest people. I love them so much. They're just as wonderful as you would think they are if you haven't met them or they haven't come to your school. Catherine and Jennifer are spectacular. So working with them was very easy. I mean, the first book, they said, what would you like to draw on these pages? And I told them, and they said, okay, that sounds great. And they had a couple of other ideas. And then the second book, we sort of knew how to work together. And they're like, this is what we think you would do really well drawing. And they had this list that sounded great to me. And we just went from there. And now we're working on the third one together. So I love working with them.
Wonderful. Next question.
All right, our next question is very relevant to that. Go ahead, Blake.
My name is Blake, and my question is, what are you working on?
So I just sent the sketches for the cover for the third Dogtown book, and they just sent me the new manuscript with they call it an art log, which is basically a list of illustrations they want me to do for it. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on a picture book with an author named Dean Robbins, and it's also about dogs. It's about a very shy dog who is very excited um, and confident at home, but whenever she leaves, she gets very, very shy. So her owner is trying to help her be a little bit more outgoing in the dog park. And she meets another shy dog there. So that's what I'm working on. And then another secret book that I can't really talk about right now.
Next question.
Lucy, go ahead.
What are some of your favorite books?
What was it?
Some of your favorite books.
My
She
favorite
asked
book?
what's
My favorite book of all time is The Witches by Roald Dahl. But my favorite picture books, Peter Brown pretty much knocks it out of the park. And my favorite of his is Mr. Tiger Goes Wild. It is all animals, and it's all animals in a really cool looking setting, and like the jungles and the flowers and the plants. And I love drawing flowers and plants and trees. And there's so many of them in there. So that is one. Anytime somebody has um, a new baby or they're building a library for their kid, that is the book that I always send them. Good question.
Next one.
How long have you been writing books?
How long have I been making books? I would say, let's see, it's been 6 years since the first one I worked on was published. But before that, I mean, I was practicing a lot for, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 years before I started getting published.
And next question.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't have a name on it though, so you can do it.
How many books have you wrote?
How many have I written or illustrated? Let's see. I have written and illustrated 2, and then illustrated 1, 2, 3, almost 5. So 3 going on 5.
Wonderful. Next question.
Guys, we've asked all the questions you gave me. Does anyone have a new question based on what we've done? It's probably because it was already answered, but I will take a look. Oh, here you go, Noah. You go ahead.
I'm Noah. Did you um how old were you when what was your favorite animal when you were a kid?
My favorite animal when I was a kid was probably dogs. My favorite animals now, I don't draw it very often, but one of my favorites is an orangutan. Uh, I don't know if you've ever seen them at the zoo or seen videos of them. They look like the kindest animal. And there's even a picture of me when I was a kid with an orangutan around, with its arm around me. I think I'm maybe like 4 years old in it. That's one of my favorite animals. I love horses. I love elephants. One of my other favorite animals to draw are wild boars, sort of like a big pig with tusks. That finds its way into my artwork a lot. And birds in general are just a lot of fun for me to draw. It's hard for me to pick. I love all kinds of animals.
Natalie?
My name's Natalie, and what was the hardest animal you drew?
Believe it or not, it's a cat. I have the hardest time drawing cats. I don't know what it is. I can draw lions, I can draw tigers, I can draw leopards, but when it comes to a house cat, it's very hard for me to draw. And the next Dogtown book has cats in it. So we'll see what happens there.
What a challenge. All
I
right.
know.
Um, does anyone else have any more questions?
Let's see. Who hasn't had a chance yet? Kenzie, why don't you go ahead?
My name is Kenzie, and when did you learn how to read?
When did I learn how to read? I don't remember the exact age, but I can tell you the book and I can tell you where I was. I was at my grandmother's house. My grandmother was an elementary school teacher and she had a collection of the best books. And up until that day, I'd just been flipping through them and looking at pictures, but there was something about this one day I was able to read the words on the page. And it was one of the most magical moments. I was like, is this really happening? And the name of the book was There's a Wocket in My Pocket. It's a very old book. I think it's maybe from the 1960s. And I can still see it. The cover is bright yellow. And that I must have been, oh gosh, I don't know, five, 4, 5, a long time ago.
Wonderful. Next question.
Natalie?
What was my name's Natalie. What is the most creative animal?
The most creative what? Oh, I didn't hear you.
Most creative animal.
The most creative animal. Let's see. Um, I think when I just sort of combine parts of animals. So if I'm like, oh, I want a bird that just is big with lots of feathers, that's where I can get the most creative because it'll still look like a bird. People will know it's a bird, and but it's not necessarily a real bird. It's just combining parts of like a goose and a pelican and maybe like some flamingo legs. So that's when I can get the most creative. And also with snakes because they have such interesting patterns on them too, and they can be such a range of colors that it doesn't seem too far from reality for a snake to have really strange shapes on it too. So if you, I don't know, if there's like a book about Valentine's Day and you can make the spots heart shaped and it kind of just like works for the snake. That's when you can be really, I can be really creative with them.
All right. Next question.
Patty?
Um, have what was your first book that you've done with somebody else, like a collab?
Dogtown was the first one I did with somebody else, with the two writers. Yeah. Before that, it was just me. And I was a little nervous going into it. I was like, what's it going to be like illustrating somebody else's work? But I didn't have to come up with the characters. I didn't have to come up with the story or the world. I just got to draw what it looked like in my head. And luckily, they really liked what they saw. So
All right. Next question.
Amelia?
My name is Ami, and I was asking, what was your favorite thing you've ever drawn in one of your books?
my favorite thing I've ever drawn in one of my books. There is a page, I think it takes up 2 pages in Dogtown. And they're talking about how puppies are sometimes put with their foster mothers in the pound. And so they're all sort of mismatched dogs with puppies. And if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. There, it's just a ton of puppies running around, like little dachshunds are with different kinds of dogs, and there's Dalmatians. And that one made me really, really happy because one of my favorite, if it's definitely my favorite Disney movie, is 101 Dalmatians, and that I felt like it could have been part of that movie, which just made me really, really proud and happy.
Great question. Any other questions?
Jack?
My name is Jack. Have you ever drawn a made-up animal in a published book?
A made-up animal in a published book so far. One that I'm working on right now, it's a dog, but it's sort of made up in terms of how she looks and how her friend looks. They're not like any other dog you've seen. You can tell they're a dog, but the colors and the way that their fur is like it's very, very different. So I'm excited for you guys to see that whenever it comes out. It's called My Dog, Shy Dog, and I think it comes out in a year. I'm not sure. I'm working on it right now.
Looking forward to reading that book. All right. Next question.
All right. Alexa, do you have?
Why did you, what's your favorite thing to draw?
My favorite thing to draw, uh, in
Kind of
general,
dog.
my favorite kind of dog to draw is a beagle. I love beagle dogs. Poodles are fun too because their fur can be kind of whatever you want to. You can be pretty inventive with the shapes of their fur.
You. Sunny, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sunny, and how did you start illustrating books?
So I practiced a lot and I put together what you call a portfolio, which is a bunch of different pieces of your artwork. And I had lots of meetings with people and said, I want to be an illustrator and these are the ideas I have. And I kept meeting with people and meeting with people who were art directors, which are the people who choose the art that goes into books. And so the more people I met, and the more artwork I showed, the more people got to know me and finally decided that they wanted to work with me. So it was a lot of meeting with people, a lot of practicing, and a lot of making sure that I had new and inventive and fresh and creative artwork in my portfolio to share. So that's how I got started. And finally, one day I met somebody at a meeting and she said, I like this idea you have. I want to take it to the people I work with and see if we can publish it. And that's how my first 2 books got published.
Fantastic. Next question.
I think we just have time for 2 more because my class time is almost done with these guys. So I'm gonna have Caleb.
Have you ever made a book by yourself?
By myself, yeah, the first 2 that I did were by myself. And then the secret one that I can't talk about is by myself.
Wonderful. Another one?
And Haley, you're gonna be our last person.
What's the hardest book or thing you've drawn?
Yeah, I'd have to go back to cats. I think cats and then sometimes people. If I know how to make animals move, but sometimes I'm like, I paid so much attention to animals. How do humans move? I want to make them look like they're walking. So that can be a challenge, but a phrase I say all the time is like, just get out of your head. Like, stop thinking too hard about it. You kind of know what they look like. And again, if I'm not having fun, I put that paper away and come back when I can have fun. And then it just comes out a lot better. So anytime there's a challenge like that, I just sort of have to shake it off and start up again. I have one question for you guys. You want to meet Esme? She's sleeping right below me. I'm gonna see if I can pick her up and she can
You
say
guys
hi.
want to meet the dog?
Yeah.
There she is. She's like, why did you pick me up? I was sleeping. She's sleeping on a little pillow at my feet. She's in my studio with me every day. And if I don't bring her up, she's here anyway on her own.
All
Thank
right.
you
So,
so much.
yes. That's all the time that we have for today. I want to thank Mr. West for taking the time to talk to our readers and thank all the students who asked such great questions. If you would like to say goodbye, thank you so much for being here and have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys. I'm excited to see the books you guys are going to make one day.
Don't do it. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.